So have students joined?
Yes, ma'am, they are joining.
Okay, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you today,
Good
ma'am?
evening. I'm good. What about you?
All fine, ma'am.
Thank you so much. You are so regular in your classes. It's really appreciable.
Thank you, ma'am.
I hope things are clear to you.
Yes, ma'am. Quite clear, ma'am.
Thank you.
Following up
Thank you.
well, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. So what we are trying to do is today I'm going to discuss the promotion and the place mix. As you can see from the slides also, the last topic of the third unit, wherein we are discussing marketing mix in detail. So today we are going to discuss promotion and promoting product and supply chain decisions. So today's slides I have taken from Principles of Management by Kotler, the basic edition. So if you want, you can take these slides from net also. Otherwise, I'm sharing here with you so that the basic concepts become clear to everyone. That is the main objective. Okay. So let us start with the very basic things. Okay, this is product. Promoting product and supply chain decisions. Okay. So the topics that we are going to cover as per your lesson plan, that is we are going to discuss promoting product, concepts and process of personal selling, then promotion mix, then supply chain decisions, nature and types, channel design and channel management decisions. And these are in accordance with your SLMs also. So you can map up either with your lesson plan or your SLM or both. You will find the same thing. So accordingly, let us start with the concept of personal selling. What does it mean? So I hope all of you remember when we need to use personal selling. So, and what is the importance, and this already we have already discussed in brief when we have discussed the concept of marketing mix. So let us discuss this today in little detail. So the nature of personal selling, basically the salesperson covers a wide range of positions from order taker to order getter, responsible for relationship building. Salespersons can be addressed by various names such as agents, sales consultants, account development representatives, account executives, marketing representatives, sales engineers, or district managers. So what is the role of the sales force? Basically, they are indulged in two-way personal communication, and it becomes more effective mode of communication than advertising in complex selling situation. I hope you all remember, first we need to understand what that personal selling is one of the sub-elements of promotion mix. And it is required basically in situations when product is highly complex in nature. And it is not easy to understand just by advertising or any such non-personal mode. Though we can get awareness, we can generate interest, it is able to draw attention. But as in case of insurance and other complex products, we all know we need to know more and more. So we need to have answers to our queries. So basically used in B2B also, it is very expensive and personal form of promotions. So the role of Salesforce is a two-way personal communication, as I have just mentioned. As we know, in case of B2B also, the components are highly complex and they become the part of the OEM, original equipments. So if there is a difference even of MMs in dimensions, it may hamper the smooth functioning of the main product. So, and sometimes the OEMs, original equipment manufacturers like Maruti, they look for customized components. So accordingly, a meeting has been fixed and sometimes repeat meetings are there. Sample is developed, and after the testing of the sample, the order for the components in bulk is placed. And but it is a huge process of I mean, before placing the order, they need to go for inspections and redesigning and then modifications before final approval. Sometimes the OEMs prefer, their team prefers to visit the site of the suppliers or the vendors. So it is a two-way personal communication process, as the name suggests, more effective than advertising in complex selling situations. Here we are talking in terms of the products which are highly technical. So the sales force plays a major role in most companies. Definitely the sales force, they are on the roles of the company. Company deputes them and they bear all their expenses, whether it is related to TA, DA or any more, along with salary. So the sales force represents the company to the customers. They are the representatives of the company. So what we mean by sales force management in terms of marketing? The analysis, planning, implementation and control of sales force activities comes under sales force management. So to manage the sales force strategy and structure, we need to understand. In terms of structure, we can discuss different types of structures, maybe based on territory. It all depends on the nature of the product and the size of the company that they are dealing with. Sometimes it is based on geography. So it is territorial sales force structure, as in case of pharma. Sometimes it is based on the nature of the product. Sometimes it is based on the types of the customers the company is targeting. And sometimes it is highly complex. So it all depends on the organization itself, and accordingly they depute their sales force, and sometimes the companies use them in combination. So to manage the sales force, many companies focus on developing effective sales force strategy. For this, they focus on the size of the sales force, and they also take into account various issues. So to manage the sales force size, companies take into consideration the workload approach to set the sales force size. There should be an equal distribution of work among the persons working in the similar capacity and at the same level, so as to minimize the issues that arise if such aspects are not duly taken care of by the organization. And other issues may be related to outside or inside the sales force and also related to team. So to recruit and select the salespeople, the company has to be highly careful while recruiting them. I hope you all know the difference between recruitment and selection. Recruitment is a positive process and selection is a negative process, because in recruitment we have applications. And in selection, at every stage, we reduce the number of the applicants on certain parameters. Then final selection is made as per the requirements of the company and as per the vacancies available at that particular point of time. So the careful recruiting can increase overall performance of the sales and can help reduce the turnover of the company, as well as the costs involved in recruiting people again and again, the sales team, as well as training them, which are very, very huge in terms of money. So to manage the sales force that the company look for, there are certain traits that they focus on, that they need to be self-motivated, intrinsic motivation. Their work style must be highly disciplined, which plays a major role in the organization and in generating the or developing the business. Also, just marketing or clarifying the doubts or handling the queries of customers is not just sufficient. As we have been discussing till now, that ability to close the sale is very, very important here. And also closing the sale is just not the end. We need to generate business again and again whenever repeat requirement occurs. So we need to develop, we means the successful salesperson, they need to have the ability to build effective relations with their customers. So to train the salespeople, the training period may vary from few weeks to 1 year or maybe more. For example, Nilkamal, the crates and bin division usually provides training for about 1 month. So it depends on the company. 1 month is 4 weeks. And it depends on the profile the candidate has joined. It is expensive in nature. Companies need trainers, they need experts, and companies bear all the expenses involved. But with the target of much more returns than the expenses in the times to come. So there are various goals of the training programs, and many companies add web-based sales training programs also these days after the advent of the online system. So to compensate the salespeople, companies are compensating them in various forms. Besides salary, they are providing them bonuses, commissions, expenses, and other fringe benefits. So there are basic compensation plans also, which include straight salary plus commission plus bonus, or maybe both. So the compensation plans should direct the sales force towards activities that are consistent with overall marketing objectives. So as we all know, first the objectives are set by the corporate, which are distributed among various SBUs. Then SBUs provides directions to various functional areas, and every functional area of which marketing is one, they also set their objectives, and according to the objectives set by the marketing division, the other operational units such as the Salesforce department, they also set their objectives so that they are able to achieve overall marketing objectives at the end, which contribute to the corporate objectives when we move from top to bottom approach. So to supervise salespeople, the effective supervisors provide effective directions to the sales force. Sales force is there, we have recruited, we have selected them, we have imparted training, but is this sufficient? No, because effective directions are also required to generate desired response from the sales team. So they can focus on annual call plans, and time and duty analysis can help provide directions. How much time they have spent, where, in which activities, what is their role, then what they have done, what is the outcome, and what is the expected time span in which they are going to get the sales closed at the end. So Salesforce automation systems assist in creating more efficient Salesforce operations. So effective supervisors not only focus on these aspects, but they also try to motivate the sales team by focusing on the organizational climate in which the sales team has to work. Then they also set sales quotas, and they also focus not only on incentives but positive incentives. They keep the morale of the team high, they conduct sales meetings, they conduct sales contests, they honor the outstanding persons, they keep on enhancing their morale, keep on appreciating them, keep on directing them so that they remain self-motivated. Now, this is not again just sufficient. There is the time to evaluate the salespeople, for which they can use various tools such as sales reports, the close sales, call reports, how many persons they have visited, not only number, but the outcome also, then the expense report. So you see, All these in combination can give us the clear picture. Expense plus call plus sales. Now, the personal selling process. So what should be the process that the sales team should follow? So first is prospecting and qualifying. What does it mean? Prospecting means the sales team should be able to identify who their potential customers are. That is, those who are likely to become their customers in near future. Then qualifying. Qualifying means the company has certain criteria on the basis of which they can identify their customers. So out of the prospects they have identified, how many are able to meet the parameters as per the company policy. That is, who are able to become the lead in the company after their screening on various parameters set by the company. Then pre-approach, that is learning as much as possible about a prospective customer before making a sales call. Suppose Maruti Maruti Suzuki is looking for certain vendors for certain components, and there are so many auto ancillary units around them. So for the auto ancillary unit, they need to understand who can be their prospective customer. And before approaching them, they should have thorough understanding of their client. What is their expectation? What they be looking for? What are their priorities? What is the main area of focus? How can we satisfy their needs? So thorough understanding, the complete detail of the prospect is required or the lead is required. Then the third step is approach. So the stage where the salesperson meet the customer for the first time. So when there occurs meeting, face-to-face meeting between the salesperson and the prospect. Then presentation and demonstration. So benefits of the product are presented or demonstrated, and understanding the prospect need is the key. That is important. We are not easily able to identify the needs of the customer despite repeated attempts. So that is necessary to identify the prospect's needs. Then handling objections and closing means when the clients have queries, we should be able to address each and every query in a manner that we are not making any false commitments. We are adhering to the fair sharing of information plus closing the sale. That is asking for the order after handling all their objections, after satisfying all their queries. And then follow up, that is to ensure customer satisfaction. Here I can give you a real life example of Nilkamal Crates and Bins. When they have delivered a presentation, the GM himself from regional office Delhi has gone to deliver a presentation to all the plant heads of the Maruti. As when the components travel on the conveyor belt, move on the conveyor belt, then they need certain crates. But sometimes they look for some customized crates and bins. Basically the crates in which various components have been put. Like for headlights, they need customized crates where sponge needs to be fixed so that the headlights remain safe while moving on the conveyor belt, and it becomes easier for worker to perform their work. But Nilkamal is not the only vendor. There are many other parties also. So how to present, how to address their issues, and how to close, because the order is definitely going to be in huge number, high volumes, and maybe worth crores of rupees or high lakhs. And it may be on a regular basis. Then is the communications mix. So marketing communications mix, that is the specific mix of advertising, personal selling, sales promotion, public relations a company uses to pursue its advertising and marketing objectives. I have just gone through the definition as we have already discussed this concept in detail earlier. So what we mean by IMC, Integrated Marketing Communications. So the marketing communication environment is changing. Mass markets have fragmented, causing marketers to shift away from mass marketing to target marketing. So mass marketing, when people in the society, a huge group have the similar set of needs and they can get their needs satisfied when the company offers same product to all the customers. But now the focus is shifting to target marketing. That is when they are concentrating on a particular segment and using a specific marketing mix to satisfy the needs of that particular segment. That is from homogeneous to concentration, undifferentiated to concentrated strategy. So there the I think you remember these strategies we have discussed: undifferentiated, concentrated, and differentiated, when we have discussed these concepts in targeting under STP. So improvements in information technology are facilitating segmentation. Media fragmentation has occurred with companies doing less broadcasting and more narrowcasting. So as far as the need of IMC in abbreviated form is concerned, there arise conflicting messages from various sources or promotional approaches that may confuse various brand images of the companies. So the problem becomes particularly prevalent when functional specialists handle individual forms of marketing communications independently. So what can be the solution? The internet must be integrated into broader IMC mix. Best bet is to wed traditional branding efforts with the interactivity and service capabilities of online communications. Then the concept under which a company carefully integrates and coordinates its many communication channels to deliver a clear, consistent, and compelling message about organization and its products. I hope we all are familiar with the process of communication. Communication effort should be viewed from perspective of managing customer relationships over time. So it requires knowledge of how communication works. It begins with an audit of potential contacts a customer might have with the brand. So what are the various elements of the communication process? It starts with the sender who releases the message. Message is framed by the sender. Sometimes it is sent in the coded form, and when it is received by the receiver at the other end, the receiver decodes it. But in between, there may occur certain barriers, maybe because of some noise, maybe a language barrier, maybe some other barriers due to which message may get distorted. The company needs a particular channel through which message travels. Then after receiving the message, the receiver responds to the sender, and accordingly, after receiving the response, the sender understands how much message and how effectively the message has been understood by the sender, and the feedback is shared. So to develop effective communication, there is a need to identify the target audience for which effective decisions related to what, how, when, and where the message will be said, as well as who will say it, is identified. Then communication objectives need to be determined, and there are different buyer readiness stages. From awareness to knowledge to liking to preference to conviction to purchase. What we mean by this? Initially, buyer may not be aware of any such product that exists in the market that the buyer is looking for. So once the buyer becomes aware of such a product, maybe through IMC, they develop knowledge about the product which can satisfy their need. But just merely having a knowledge of the product that can satisfy their need is not just sufficient. So they develop liking for the product. Again, liking for the product is not just sufficient because there are various brands for the same product may be existing in the market. So customers need to develop a preference for that particular brand above other competing brands available in the market. Then they get convinced with that particular brand, and finally they make a decision to buy that particular brand, and then there occurs exchange of that particular brand with money. That is what we call purchase action. So then there occurs a stage to design a message. AIDA framework, I hope all of you remember we have discussed. AIDA, attention, interest, desire, and action.
Action. Correct, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Framework that guides the message design. So message content contains appeals. I hope all of us are aware that there are basically two types of appeals in advertising. One is rational, second is emotional. Sometimes these are used independently, sometimes these are used in combination. So you may recall various ads, maybe based on emotional appeal or rational appeal or mix of both, or things designed to produce desired results. Yeah, it is mentioned here. So on the basis of love, pride, joy, humor, fear, guilt, and shame, like there is one slogan, kuch meetha ho jaye, emotional appeal. Rational, I think some anti-dandruff shampoos and all, those who partition the hair in two parts and use one particular brand and say this brand contains this, this, and this. They talk about the ingredients, or we can say the components of which the product is made of. And sometimes there occurs moral appeals, like the social cause messages like Jago, Grahak Jago, and so on. Then the structure of the message. So the key decisions are required with respect to the message structure issues, whether or not to draw a conclusion, one-sided or two-sided arguments, or order of argument presentation. So while designing the message, format of the message is of high importance. I hope all of us are aware which color draws more attention. You see the color used by Airtel, by Jio, which color they prefer. Design, layout, shape, word, sounds, voice, body language, dress, etc. Ultimately, what is the purpose of this message? To draw attention. Because if the stimuli is so weak that it passes just unnoticed, then it is of no use. So stimuli should be strong enough so that it gets noticed and it is recalled when desired, when required. Then choosing a particular media for personal communication channels that includes maybe face-to-face, telephonic, mail, or internet chat communications. I think all of us are aware that every website or most of the websites these days have chatbot. Whenever we open the website, a pop-up appears and chatbot is ready to answer your general queries or to provide you further guidance. Then word of mouth influence, that is the fastest traveling mode of communication even today, which has given rise to viral or buzz marketing. Yeah, buzz marketing cultivates opinion leaders. Then non-personal communication channels such as media, atmosphere, events, broadcasting ways comprise this. Then selecting the source of the message. So the source of the message must be highly credible and must be persuasive in nature. I hope whether it is politics or organizations or companies, the spokesperson plays the major role. Every word uttered by them is duly noticed by the audience. And sometimes it gives rise to a war, verbal war. He said this, she said this is not acceptable and all. Then there occurs a sort of war through media. So companies should avoid. And for this, I hope all of us are aware that there is a position of PRO in the organizations, public relations officer. They are not only having good communication skills, but they are highly selective of the words they have been using while communicating. And they may suggest changes in the product or the promotion. Because media is there and every word uttered may invite criticism. Then the setting up of promotional budget. So there are different methods like affordability, percentage of sales, and competitive parity. In affordability method, the budget is set at a level that a company can afford. Yes. Irrespective of the trend in the industry, if a company is not able to afford the product to get endorsed by celebrity, they will not go for it. It is affordability matters a lot. Then some companies may compare or may set the budget for promotions based on the past sales or maybe on the sales they are projecting in near future. And sometimes they are matching the budget as per the budget framed by the competitor. So to set the total promotional budget, another method is objective and task method. So sometimes they first of all specifically define the objectives and then they identify various tasks to achieve those objectives, and then they estimate the costs involved in performing those tasks, and then they make an assessment, and then they create the promotional budget. Suppose a company is trying to plan some promotional schemes, they might be planning some events, they might be planning to go abroad for international exposure. So they will identify various activities involved, various tasks involved. They will make assessment and then they set up the total promotional budget. So setting up of the overall promotional mix is determined by the nature of each promotional tool, whether it is advertising or personal selling or sales promotional or any other. And then they select the promotional mix strategy. So to set the promotional budget and mix, I hope we all are familiar with these tools now. So the purpose of the promotional tools is to reach large geographically dispersed audience with high frequency. Then there has to be low cost per exposure, though the overall costs are very, very high. Then the consumers perceive advertised goods as more legitimate, and they also understand how much a dramatized ad is there by the company or the brand. Then they also build the brand image, and they sometimes focus on short-term sales, and sometimes only one-way communication and non-personal communication is involved. So this was about advertising. Then personal selling, we have just discussed that it is one of the most effective tools for building buyer preferences, convictions, and actions. And here the buyers are more attentive and more focus is on relationship building. And it is basically, as the name suggests, personal interaction focused on feedback as well as handling queries or objections. And Salesforce represents the long-term commitment, and it is one of the most expensive promotional tools. Then public relations uses a variety of formats such as premiums, coupons, contests, sweepstakes, and the objective is to draw the attention and offer strong purchase incentives. It also dramatizes offers and boosts sagging sales. It is short-lived and not effective at building long-term brand preferences. So you see how different it is from the other modes. And it also focused on stimulating quick response. Then direct marketing is highly credible, and it is appearing in various forms such as stories in the news, features, events, sponsorships, and the focus is on reaching many prospects that are not approached by other modes, those who are left, and it is most underused element in the promotional mix. Yes. So there are two types of promotional mix strategies such as push and pull strategy. Push strategy, that is when the marketer is pushing the sales through trade promotions, and personal selling efforts push the product through the distribution channels. Pull strategy, when producers use advertising and consumer sales promotion to generate strong consumer demand for the products. So there is a checklist for the integrated promotion mix to analyze the trends, to create performance measures, and to appoint an IMC manager. So there are certain aspects related to socially responsible communications, and then there is a little detail of advertising, sales promotion, and public relations. But we will come back to this later. Let us first discuss about the other part of the session that is related to channels. So let us discuss little about marketing channels and supply chain management. So first we need to understand two basic terms related to value delivery network and marketing channels. So the network made up of the company, suppliers, distributors, and ultimately customers who partner with each other to improve the performance of the entire system define the value delivery network. And a set of interdependent organizations involved in the process of making a product or service available for use or consumption by the consumer or the business units formulate the marketing channel. So the channel choices affect other decisions in the marketing mix, such as pricing and marketing communications. If a company has strong distribution system, it can be an edge over the competitor, and channel decisions involve long-term commitments to other firms. But how channel members can add value, this is something to be understood. So intermediaries require few contacts to move the product to the final purchaser. They may help match product assortment demand with supply. I hope you remember the concept of assortment and variety. Assortment is depth. Break large quantity into small quantity, that is retail. Intermediaries help bridge major time, place, and possession gaps. I hope you remember. And the fourth type of utilities, which one? Time, place, possession, and form utility. Gaps that separate the product from those who would use them. So whenever we move ahead, we need to recall the previous concepts we have gone through so that we can establish a link between them. So the key functions performed by channel members are related to providing information, negotiation, physical distribution of goods, finance related activities, risk taking abilities, matching the need with the offer, then establishing long-term relations, and then promotions also. So the number of intermediary levels indicate the length of marketing channels. Yes, this is important. How much should be the number of channels a company should possess? So to understand this, the number of intermediary levels that indicate the length of marketing channels. So these can be of two types. One is direct, other is indirect. So producers lose more control and face greater channel complexity as additional channel levels are added. Obviously, more and more channels means lesser and lesser control and more complexity to handle. I hope we have already discussed this. Direct and indirect is one level. Direct means 0 level, indirect 1 level, 2 level, and multi-level. Then channel behavior and organization. So there may occur conflict among channel members when they are not agreeing on the roles, activities, and rewards of others. So what kind of roles or conflicts can occur? They may occur at the same level, that is horizontal, that is the firms that are at the same level, or the retailers, we can say. Then the vertical conflict, that is top to bottom, that is when firms are at different channels, that is supplier and retailer. So there are conventional distribution channels that comprise one or more independent channel members. They may lack leadership and power and often result in poor performance. Then vertical marketing systems consist of members acting as a unified system and use contracts, ownership, or power. Now, vertical marketing systems, that is of three types, that is corporate, contractual, and administered. Corporate vertical marketing system, that is corporation owns production and distribution. Then coordination and conflict through regular organization channels. So most of the corporates like Maruti or Reliance, they prefer to have their own distribution channels as they remain under the direct control of the company, and there may be reduced channel conflicts. Then contractual vertical marketing channels. So individual firms who join through contracts, and there may be a franchise organizations like manufacturer sponsored retailer franchise system, manufacturer sponsored wholesaler franchise system, or service firm sponsored retailer franchise system. And the third is administered vertical marketing system. That is leadership through the size and power of dominant channel members, and leadership could be manufacturer or retailer. So contractual, I hope understood. And in case of administered, those among the channel members, those who dominate on the basis of size and powers. So horizontal marketing system is a channel arrangement in which two or more companies at the same level join to follow a new marketing opportunity. Then in case of multi-channel distribution system, in which a single firm sets up two or more marketing channels to reach one or more customer segments. Like Maruti and Reliance, they have their own distribution channels, but depending on the huge market demand, sometimes they may go for contractual arrangements also. Then disintermediation, that is reverse of intermediation, the displacement of traditional resellers from a marketing channel by a radical new type of intermediaries. So the number of marketing intermediaries, how to decide? For this, we have three types of strategies: intensive, exclusive, and selective. In case of intensive distribution, they stock the product in as many outlets as possible. And it usually happens in case of convenience goods, FMCG. Then exclusive, as the name suggests, giving a limited number of dealers the exclusive right to distribute the company's products in their territories. Then selective, the use of more than one but few than all of the intermediaries who are willing to carry the products of the company. So horizontal marketing systems, that this we have, I think, already discussed. Multi-channel, also known as hybrid marketing channel. So in case there occurs a query related to hybrid marketing channel, we are focusing on the concept of multi-channel distribution system. And changing channel organization is the concept related to disintermediation. So, channel management decisions focus on selecting channel members, managing and motivating them, and evaluating them. So, to select the channel members, they identify the characteristics that distinguish the best channel members. To manage and motivate them, there is a concept of partner relationship management, that is PRM. And to evaluate them, performance should be checked against the standards that have been set in the beginning, and channel members should be rewarded or replaced as directed by the performance. So, channel management decisions are selecting channel members, that is, which characteristics are important, for how many years they are in the business, which product lines they are carrying, what is the record of their growth and profit, what about their reputation and cooperativeness in the market, and what kind of customers they are dealing with, and the location they are catering to. So, to manage and motivate channel members, as we have discussed, besides PRM, for long-term relationships, there is a software available to coordinate with them. And to evaluate them, we can check their performance on the basis of sales generated, how effectively they manage the inventory, and how they effectively cater to the customers in terms of delivery, how much they focus on promotion and training, and how effectively they are providing customer services. So, public policy and distribution decisions, such as exclusive distribution, that is, only certain outlets are allowed to carry the products of the firm, and exclusive dealing refers to exclusive territorial agreements and tying agreements. I hope we all are aware that Maruti is following this concept of territorial agreements. So, as far as logistics systems is concerned, logistics functions focus on minimizing costs of attaining logistics objectives, then submitting process shipped, then storage distribution, that is warehousing, then when to order, how to order, and JIT, that is related to inventory, and then various modes of transportation, including pipeline. Then marketing, logistics, and supply chain management. So we all know outbound, inbound, reverse distribution involves the entire supply chain management system. But the question arises, what we mean by supply chain management? So it starts with the procurement of the raw material till we make the product reach the consumer. So it is a huge process, involves various activities. So the goals of the logistics system is, no system can both maximize customer service and minimize costs. This is very, very challenging. Easier to say, difficult to implement. So firms must first weigh the benefits of higher service against the costs, and then only they should state the goals in terms of targeted level of customer service at the least cost. So the major logistics functions are focused on warehousing, inventory management, transportation, and logistics information management. So the transportation carrier options, I hope we all are aware. Now one more has been added, that is internet, and intermodal transportation is becoming more common. So before ending the session today, let us go back to the slides that we have not discussed earlier related to discussion of 3 modes in further detail. Let us discuss these. Yes, advertising, sales promotion, and public relations. Advertising, as we all know about the definition, that any paid form of non-personal presentation and promotion of ideas, goods, or services by an identified sponsor. Okay, So the statistics you keep updating as it keeps changing from time to time. So business firms, not-for-profit, social agencies, and professionals all advertise. So the key decisions in advertising related to setting objectives can be classified by the primary purpose to inform, by introducing new products, to persuade by becoming more important as there occurs increase in competition, and to remind the customer that is most important for the products which have reached the stage of maturity. Then setting the budget, that is methods of various methods of budget setting. I hope we have just discussed. Then several factors should be considered when setting the ad budget, that is the stage of PLC, the product is at, then the share in market share, then the competition prevailing in that particular market, and the degree of brand differentiation, that is uniqueness. Then developing the advertising strategy. For creating ad messages such as message strategy, focusing on creative concept or big idea and ad appeal. Then execution of the message using various styles, tone, format, illustration, headline, copy, and then developing the advertising strategy by selecting advertising media, by deciding on the level of reach, frequency, and impact. Then choose among the major media types by select specific media vehicles. I hope you are aware, like if we have been using, say, television. In television, we have various marketing channels, and one channel is one particular vehicle. So deciding on media timing. I hope again you are aware that how they charge. Like electronic media, one ad is of 30 seconds and how much they charge for it. And in case of print media, based on the number of the space occupied. Like in case of newspaper ad, half page ad, full page ad, and so on. Then evaluating advertising campaigns. Okay. Then major media types, as we have discussed, one more has been added besides newspaper, television, direct mail, radio, or broadcast. Then magazines, outdoor, there is addition of internet. Yes. So to evaluate ad campaigns, we measure communication effects, because along with the master copy, a copy of the ad has also been framed, and they test it. Then they measure the sales effect by comparing the past sales with the present advertising expenditures, and they keep on experimenting. Then sales promotion, which are short-term incentives to encourage the purchase or sale of a product or service, and this increases during festive season. So it can be targeted at the final buyers, retailers, wholesalers, business customers, and members of the sales force. The use of sales promotion has been growing rapidly, and 78% to the trade with 22% to the end consumers. So the objectives related to consumer promotions are related to increase in short-term sales or long-term market share, and to generate product trial. And the objective of trades promotion is to obtain distribution and shelf space and encourage retailers to advertise the brand. Then the objectives related to sales force promotion is signing up new accounts. So here we can see we have specific objectives of sales promotion for consumers, trade, and sales force. So consumer related promotional tools can be free sample distribution, offering coupons, then cash refunds or rebates, then sent off or price tag deals, then premiums, patronage rewards, loyalty rewards, then contest, games, and sweepstakes. Then In trade promotion tools, we can discuss about discounts, also called price off list and off invoice, allowances for advertising, display, and then free goods, which we call freebies also. And then the third type, that is public relations. That is building good relations with the company's various publics by obtaining favorable publicity, building up a good corporate image, and handling or heading off unfavorable rumors, stories, and events. So the functions of the public relations are related to press relations, product publicity, public affairs, lobbying, and investor relations. And the public relation tools can be news, speeches, corporate identity materials, mobile marketing, special events, audio-visual materials, public service activities besides internet. Now, students, I hope we have covered the main concepts of the day.